Hello and welcome to It's All About You, the best show about you on the internet. I am B. Dave Walters, writer, talk radio host, college professor, life coach, all-around great guy. This is episode number 67, Power. I can't believe I haven't used this title before, so maybe I have. Maybe this is Power 2. I don't know. I'll look closely, but I don't think I've used Power yet. So this is Power. And you know, something amazing happened. A friend of mine just shared with me some very personal things, and that's why I won't reveal what my friend's name is, but you know who you are. And it's amazing to me that usually when I encounter somebody who's been through some trauma in their past, who's had, you know, some really tough experiences, usually I can tell very quickly. If we've had the honor of talking one-on-one, you know that usually I pretty much can kind of cut right to the point. And this person shared with me some experiences from their past that were amazing, you know, that they'd had their trust violated, you know, from abuse and some other things. And they were asking me about how to let go of their lingering anger they had towards this person who'd hurt them. And we talked about that, and I shared my insights, and hopefully it helped. But what I took from that, the most amazing thing, is how truly beautiful and loving and wonderful this person is, in spite of everything that's going on. And what I was taking from that is that is real power, okay? That's, you know, I talk a lot, I've mentioned, at least in passing, about not giving your power away. And this was one of the things that I shared with this person, is that, you know, as we've said again and again, and you know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it again because it's still true, is that forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is not saying that what they did was okay, because it may not be okay. In this case, it wasn't okay. But forgiveness is releasing the anger that you still have, because it's done. It's done, okay? Because here's the thing. They did what they did, or they didn't do what they didn't do, but it's in the past, okay? Because whatever happened, happened. But every time you replay it in your mind, it happens to you again and again. You know? That they did it, maybe lots of times, but maybe you've done it to yourself hundreds or thousands of times. Does that make sense? Because here's the thing, and believe me, I am not at all trying to minimize the psychology of abuse. Obviously, it's a minefield, and if you have the ability to talk to somebody and work through it, please do, okay? So, you know, this isn't the type of thing that you can just walk off, right? But the thing is, once you make this step of forgiveness and releasing your hostility and releasing your anger, whether or not your anger is justified, that is what puts you on the path to healing. Does that make sense? And again, it does not mean what they did was okay. But the thing is, a person can hurt your body, but you don't have to let them hurt your soul. Does that make sense? What's you, the real you, the eternal you, is indestructible. They can't hurt it and no one else can, right? In their words or anybody's words only have what power over you that you give them. Does that make sense? Any human being only has what power over you that you give them, okay? Because where power comes from, where real power comes from, honestly, is from responsibility. It's from responsibility. Responsibility. We've talked about this before. But I'm really like going through this in my mind because I'm amazed at how wonderful this person is in the midst of all of this. And they're justified for being angry. I'm not saying they shouldn't be angry. I'm not saying you shouldn't be angry. And that's okay, but you have to learn how to focus or at least release that anger. Okay? In this particular situation, my friend doesn't really have any sort of legal recourse. There's nothing they can really do to get justice through conventional means. So in this case, all they can do is put it in God's hands and continue. Remember, what did I tell you? We talked about this before. What is the best revenge? What is the absolute best revenge you can have on a person who's hurt you? Be happy. Lead a good life. Go on and show them and show the world that what they did or did not do does not dominate and control you. That you hold the reins of your life, and you hold the reins in your mind, and you make the decisions about who you are and where you're going. Okay? And I know there's things that are going on around you. There's forces at work in your life. There always are. You know, the past does not indicate where you're going to end up. It just indicates where you start. Okay? So maybe you don't have all the money. Maybe you don't have all the opportunity. Maybe you don't have all the education. So be it. You have what you have. You have the hand that you were dealt. Okay? Thinking that it should have been better, thinking that it should have been different, wasted energy. Because the fact is, it is what it is. You're as tall as you are, you're as short as you are, as fat, skinny, young, old, white, black, male, female, whatever. This is the hand you're dealt, okay? How are you going to play it? Because I'll let you in on a secret, and we talked about this, frequently over the last few episodes about the enlightenment and making miracles and allowing these wonderful things to take place, is that if you can stand in a place of faith, if you can stand in a place of that, God or the universe or Allah or Shiva or Brahma, Vishnu, whoever has your back, and you truly believe in your heart that God has your back, that the universe is on your side, then you will understand that for whatever reason, the pain in situations and circumstances that you've been dealt are somehow still to your greater good. That somehow good can still come from it in this world. That it can be the fire that shapes you and hones you and creates something better in you that will allow you to go forth and maybe be a comfort to somebody else who's been through what you've been through. Maybe you're going to be an example for a generation of people to see that if he can go through that, if she can go through that, if they can come from where they've come from and go to where they are, then maybe I can too. Maybe that's the lesson of your life. To not be broken. To not let anything stop you ever. To keep moving forward no matter what. Because if you look at the holy books of the world, all of them, the Bible, the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Torah, the Gita, the Quran, the Pali Canon, you'll see again and again that it's the people that are put in these circumstances, sometimes terrible circumstances, that they persevere and they overcome. Okay? And unfortunately, there's sometimes that things don't always work out for the best. Well, that's not true. Things don't always work out how we want, but we have to have faith that they always work out for the best. Does that make sense? It's like right now, in the United States, we just got this debt or credit reduced, right, to AA plus instead of AAA. And there's things going on all over the world. There's riots in the UK. There was that guy in Norway that blew up a camp. There's the unrest in Serbia. All these things that are happening, and there's a lot of panic in the world right now. And people are asking me, how do I feel about it? And the reality of the matter, I don't feel about it. I don't let any of it, damage my calm. Because here's the fact. We as a nation, and we as individuals will survive. And it has no impact whatsoever on what I have to do on a day-to-day basis to provide for myself and to be here for you and to provide for my family and do what I have to do. I refuse to allow the fear-mongering and the gloom and doom that sells newspapers, well, what newspapers still sell, but that equals ratings on TV. I won't let that inside of me to damage my calm. Does that make sense? Because I'm not president, I'm not a senator, I'm not a congressman or congresswoman, right? So I have no say in that. I can cast my votes and make my will known as I've done, but the fact of the matter is I'm not going to be afraid about it, because for what? For what? Right? You ever heard that quote from Winston Churchill? I know the future will be kind to me, history will be kind to me, for I intend to write it. It's like when I look to the future and I see uncertainty, because uncertainty is the future. Tomorrow is not guaranteed to any of us. But I know that I still am on the path to creating what I want, or God is going to send me what I need. Does that make sense? So what difference does it make if the country's credit goes all the way down to F? Well, it's going to be some tumultuous years. So be it. Does that make sense? Because nothing, and this is what I'm getting at. Nothing and no one can take my power away from me. That makes sense? I have absolute 100% control over what happens in here and what happens in here. And as you know, that's where all the power in the universe is. That's where you create from. That's where you act from. It's where you live from. And when you can do that, and you can do it free from the shackles of fear, then yes, you absolutely have the power to create anything. But this is the thing. I've had a couple, I've alluded in these videos to the fact that there's quite a few things that I know that I don't talk about. And well, there are quite a few things that I know that I don't talk about. And I've had people come to me and they're like, they want to know about some of my, deeper experiences and the things that aren't really for broadcasting out to the public. And one of the first questions I have to ask, the first question is, well, why do you want to know? Well, why is it that you want to know? I mean, is it to serve to boost your ego? That if you feel like you can learn to see and experience and maybe even do these miraculous things, it's for what? To feel better about yourself, to plug some gap in yourself. Because here's the thing, if you're not already stable, and God tries to bless you in certain ways, be it with spiritual gifts or, material gifts, it's like attaching a rocket booster to a Pinto, to an old Volkswagen Bug. You'll fly apart. You can't do it. You'll just be unstable. Like if you notice that most spiritual people are, unfortunately, train wrecks. They can give you this list of their initiations and all the things that they know, and there's, I'm a Reiki master, and I'm a channeler, and I got all these things. And yet, my relationships don't work. I'm sick all the time. I'm worried and have anxiety. You got to start with you. You always have to start with you. Before you can send healing out to others, you have to be able to direct healing to yourself. Does that make sense? Before you can be there to give advice and comfort and peace to others, you have to be able to give advice, comfort, and peace to yourself. You have to sweep your own steps clean. If you ever worry why people don't listen to you, then you have to really look at yourself and see, do you really live the things that you're talking? Really? Do you embody your teaching? I saw a quote just today from Francis of Assisi. Preach the gospel constantly, and when necessary, use words. Your life is supposed to be your example, okay? And here's the thing, that when things get difficult, and they're going to get difficult, that's not when you fall apart. I've had this conversation so many times that, this thing I wanted didn't happen, why, God, why? I don't believe in the law of attraction anymore, right? See, here's the thing. You're a human being, so you're going to feel disappointment. I mean, I feel disappointment. The thing is, I feel it for like a fraction of a second because I immediately start looking for what's really taking place here. And what's happening here? What's God trying to show me? Or where's God trying to send me? How can I, respond to this appropriately? Right? But when you have these disappointments, rather than get into this big woe is me thing, look and see, ask yourself, what can I do differently? Who am I being in this situation? If I'm feeling hurt by this person, okay, then ask yourself, who are you being in this situation? What in you is really feeling this hurt? Because it's not you. You are indestructible. You are impossible to offend. So what's being hurt? Are they offending your ego? I mean, are they offending the child in you that at some young age made your decisions about the world and how it works? I'm sorry, I got my timer over here. Are they offending your sense of I'm not good enough? Are they offending your pride? I mean, what is it? Figure out what it is that they're offending. Okay? Because once you're aware of things like this and what is it in you that's being triggered by them, then you can begin to control it. See, this is part of the reasons why I'm impossible to offend. Impossible. I mean, you can't really say anything to me that's going to hurt my feelings. Like, I can be aware of the fact that you might be trying to, but you can't actually do it. And I can tell you why, unfortunately, because anything you can say to me are just words. Okay, words. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words. Words have what power that you give them. Think about this. If somebody says something to you that really hurts your feelings, I mean, if a crazy person on the street said it to you, would it have hurt your feelings? Then why are you allowing it to hurt your feelings now? And yeah, I understand theoretically words out of your mother's mouth are different from a crazy person's mouth, or are they? They have what power that you invest in them. Because again, NLP teaches us people are doing the best that they can. They're operating out of their own fear and their own anxiety and their own inadequacy, and that's where they're coming to you from. So all of their information and perceptions and actions are being filtered through all these lenses and walls they have around themselves, and then they hit you, and you delete, distort, and generalize and filter it through all your walls and barriers and stuff. You see how hard it is to really communicate authentically? And yet, I always tell you, if you can't communicate, you don't have a relationship. And this is why, because the two real you aren't connecting. Your shells and your facades are just kind of bumping up against one another, right? But when you can start to stand in confidence in yourself, in your power, in your ability to handle anything that life throws at you, when you really realize that you plus God is the majority, or you plus the universe is the majority, when you truly understand that and embrace that, and you breathe it in and you get it in your lungs, then you no longer walk in fear of other people's actions, and you no longer walk in craving of other people's approval, and you can walk in power and confidence in all things at all times. Now, I can tell you, if this is your situation, in talking to my friend who had this situation where their trust was betrayed, that what they should do when they felt this anger well up, and they will, because that's normal and natural, is to, this person happens to be very religious, I know, pray that God will forgive them for what they did, and pray that God would forgive my friend for the anger that they still had in their heart. And consciously release it. Breathe it out and let it go. When it comes in, let it go. Redirect your thoughts. Now, I don't just mean repress. I don't mean repress. That's how you become an alcoholic or a drug dealer or a sex slave or something. I'm not saying bury it. Don't fight it. Be with your anger. It's okay. But then release it. We talked about enlightenment, being able to separate yourself from your emotions. Be aware of the fact that you feel this way, and then release it. And give up the idea that you need to get revenge on this person or get even with this person, because that's not possible. Okay? You can't get even. Nothing you do to them is going to unhurt you. You can't go back in time and make it not happen. So that's in God's hands. It's in the universe's hands. Or possibly in the law's hands. I mean, if they've committed a crime, then yeah, sure, get the cops involved. But you may be in a situation where you have no legal recourse, in which case all you can do is trust that karma is a boomerang, and retribution will come in this life or the next. But you want to know the strange thing? When you truly forgive them, you'll no longer wish retribution for them. You'll know you've truly forgiven somebody when not just do you not think of them at all, but you actually kind of think of them with a little bit of pity. It's like, I feel sad for you. That as a human being, you could do this, that, or the other. That you could live this way. That actually fills my heart with compassion. That is when you will have achieved true forgiveness. I mean, you know, my non-judgmental streak has gotten me into trouble recently, as you've heard. But I can even stand in a place where this person needs help. They're sick. But I can stand and not hate them. I just want them to stop hurting other people and stop hurting themselves. But in the meantime, you know, I'm almost out of time. So you know. But remember, forgiveness is a gift for you, not them. Buddha said, holding on to anger with the intention of hurting someone else is like picking up a hot coal with the intention of throwing it. You are the one who gets burned. Do not give your power away ever again. You are great, and I love you. Bye-bye.